The Fair Labor Standards Act, overtime, gender discrimination, pregnancy, race. What other areas are really, really at the forefront right now of employment law that you are seeing?
Sure. Right now, the other area that's really getting hot is the WARN Act cases. And the WARN Act is it's a federal law that requires that if there's going to be a mass layoff or a plant closing, that employees are entitled to 60 days notice if the employer employs 100 or more employees. Well, you're seeing a lot of oil companies now that are doing mass layoffs because of the oil prices, and employees are not getting the notice that they're required to get. And the notice is so that they can retrain, they can look for jobs, they can do whatever they have to do to continue to be able to support their families. And these folks are just getting laid off without notice, and those cases are pretty hot right now as well.
And when you talk about the 60-day notice in the WARN Act, what does that notice have to have in it?
Well, it'll tell them the date that they're going to lose their job.
Okay.
That's the most important thing, so that they know that between now and 60 days from now, I've got to do something. WARN, W-A-R-N, stands for Worker Adjustment Retraining Notification Act. And it's intended to give workers a chance to know that this is coming and to do something about it so that they can support their families.
Likely, if somebody gets a notice like that and they're working for a huge company and they apply for unemployment, what are the chances that they will get it? Is it near 100%?
Oh, I would think so, sure.
And when they do get that, I know that they have a duty, and a lot of people don't know this because they never applied for unemployment. They have a duty to keep looking for a job.
Right.
And how stringent are those requirements? Does it vary from county to county, region to region in Texas, where they're saying, well, you have to look for a certain amount of job contacts?
Yeah, I don't practice a lot in that area, but I do know that there are certain requirements, and they're supposed to be the same statewide, but you and I both know that from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, laws are enforced differently.
Well, let's change gears a little bit. I always give attorneys especially, and all my guests, closing arguments. And I want to talk about things that really make you tick, why you're a lawyer, why you do what you do, and kind of like an open mic to tell the people what your beliefs are on certain issues, not just employment law, but kind of the trends here in the country. So the mic is yours, my friend.
You know, Joe, I started practicing law here in Corpus Christi, and I did a lot of criminal defense. I tried murder cases, I tried big drug cases, I tried burglary, robbery, you name it. I've tried a lot of cases, and what I began to learn when I did those cases is that people often aren't treated fairly. I was pretty conservative when I came out of law school, and as I began practicing law and seeing the way people were treated in our society, I felt like I need to make a difference. Those are the people I need to be helping. And my favorite saying is that, you know, what I do, what really makes me tick is I love to pick fights with bullies. Okay, I like to throw rocks at the giant because, hey, my name's David, all right?
Right.
That's what I do.
Right.
And it gives me a great sense of purpose and fulfillment when I represent a little employee against a Fortune 500 company, and in the courtroom, we're equals, okay? In the courtroom, my clients have the same rights as their employer. And when the case is over and we prevail, and by prevail I mean we just get what we're entitled to, and we've done that, and my little client looks at me and says, thank you, you know, that's what makes me tick.
And those cases, you know, I think are becoming more difficult because of the legislation and mandatory arbitration clauses. They're trying to take away the trial lawyer from the courtroom, and they're closing the courthouse doors. I mean, what cases have you seen that really, other than with tort reform or well, it's not reform, malform maybe, that really have limited a person's right to their day in court in nursing home cases, med mal? what other areas of the law are you seeing that have really closed opportunities for people to have their day in court?
Oh, sure. Personal injury cases across the board, whether it's med mal, all the way from car wrecks, med mal, all the way up. Folks are denied their day in court, and it's contrary to what we believe in as Americans. I mean, that is where the little guy has the same power as the giant in a courtroom. And there have been a lot of special interest groups that have worked very hard and very successfully to deny people those rights. But the thing that I like most about employment law is it's untouched by tort reform. It's federal law. The state tort reform things that have been going on haven't affected that. And as far as arbitration goes, I don't have that big of a problem with it in employment law cases, because when a defense lawyer tells me, well, we're going to go to arbitration, my response is, that's great. If I win, that just means I don't have to deal with the Fifth Circuit.
Right,
And
exactly.
the Fifth Circuit, of course, is the federal circuit that reviews trial court cases in this area, and it's very conservative.
And that means, a lot of the time that the little guy who is taking on the giant may have their case overturned.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Not to say that the Fifth Circuit all the time upholds those kinds of things, but we do have a conservative circuit. This is not the Ninth Circuit, or so we do have a very conservative court, and I think we have some very fair courts when it comes to employment law cases that I've seen. But that's why I took the opportunity to bring you on